Hello, my creative friends. I'm Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com, and it is release week for the new Stamp of Approval Beautiful World collection. And today is my feature day on Catherine's blog.
My card today was inspired by the coloring book art. Have you seen the coloring books? They're in the craft stores, they're at the airport, they're even at the grocery stores now. It's the adult coloring books. They're fun, and I love coloring. So anyways, I'm going to show you the steps that I used to create this card. I'm not going to do the entire card, but I will show you what I did to make it. So to get started, I'm going to pull out my Misty. So I pulled out my Misty and I lined one of the stamps from the Geobuilder set. This set was designed by Catherine Pooler for Catherine Pooler Designs. It's her first stamp set. Isn't that fun? So I just lined that up in there, and then I used my Misty to pick it up. And then to place the other designs on the card, this is from Enchanted Garden. My next step was to actually place the thank you where I wanted it to go, because I could then place all the other images around that sentiment. And actually, I'm going to change it to sending birthday wishes your way. So I put that on there. And you can put all of your flowers around it and then just use the Misty to pick them up. I use my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm just going to ink these up and stamp it down. Oh, I forgot to put my magnets on, so it just came up with it. The beauty of this is if there's anything missing or if it's not quite dark enough, you can just ink it up and stamp it again. I think this looks good, so I'm just going to clean off this stamp. I don't need this one anymore. And then I created my masks. I used the Inka Dinka Do stamping mask paper. And for this, I just cut a strip, and you want to stamp on the white side, not the blue side. I inked it up and stamped it onto the mask, and now I've got a mask. And I'm just going to simply cut that out for my mask. I did the same thing for the flowers in this set. And I actually need a new mask for this particular flower, so I'm going to lay that in there. Move that over, lay that in there, close up the lid to pick it up. These are why magnets are so important, because otherwise every time you lift up the lid, you're going to lift up your paper underneath. This is a little tip I gave a while ago that I learned from somebody else. It's not my idea, but I loved it. And that was just to wrap my magnet in washi tape and then stick the end of the washi tape together. And that way the magnets are easier to pick up without running into each other. And if they do snap together, hopefully your fingers don't get in between. Don't pull your fingers in between. You can easily move it so that you can pull them apart. So, washi tip, great tip. Washi tape, great tip. Okay, so ink up the flower. Stamp it down. And now for the flowers, because there's a die set, I can just take the die, it's this one right here, and die cut it out. And then these are ones that I used on the earlier card. Once you're done using them, you can reuse them. As long as you don't rip them or tear them, you can reuse them 2, 3, or more times. There isn't a die for this one, so I'm going to fussy cut it out by hand, but really, it's so easy to do. You can leave a little bit of a space if you want a little bit of white space to show. Let's pull this out here. This will be easier to tell you on this. If you want a little bit of white space to show around your border, you can do that by leaving a little bit of space when you cut. But I find it, I don't know if you can even see that on camera. Can you see that bit of white space? Maybe if I do this. So there's just a little bit of space. But I found what's even easier is to just cut it right on that black line. So if you cut it right on that black line, and then you can move it forward a little bit, and your mask can go into your page like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere it to this coloring page that's done. And this time I'm not gonna have that white line. I did it right on the black. I can see the black through there. So I actually moved it this way a little bit to achieve that. So from here, you can just take your die cuts and line them up over your flowers. And now we've got our mask. You would continue to fill all of those in, of course. And then I'm gonna take my ink blending tool and some, the Twisted Citron ink. And let me pull this in here a little bit, because that way I won't have to clean my craft mat. I'm going to open this up since it's just a 1-layer card. I get my ink on my ink blending tool and I tap it to blot it off and then do kind of a circular motion. And this didn't have a lot of ink in it, so I'm going to go again. So you would just continue doing that all along the entire card and adding more layers. So if you want it darker, just come in with a darker layer. Once you have that first layer of color down, you can come in without having to like start off here and be quite so light. And you won't get the as much blotchiness after you have your first layer of color down. So again, you would just do that for the entire card. Then you're gonna peel off the masks. I did a little bit of yellow in the center. This is my Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers. I've got a supply list down below. And for this card, for this flower I mean, it's just orange. And you can be very careful to stay in the lines or not so much, depending on how quickly you need to do it. I'm trying to get this card done before my son gets out of school. So I went over the entire thing with the light orange, and then I'm coming in with this darker orange, and I figure these petals behind here are going to be a little bit darker, so I'm just going in the bottom there. And then from this little center out, I just follow the little lines that are on the drawing. Scribbling off occasionally. I'll come back in and blend those together. As easy as that, my card is done. I will have a close-up picture as well as links to the stamp of approval, and I will have a supply list on my blog. And also, this is my feature day on Catherine's blog, but there are other artists that are featured there as well. So I'll have links to all of their blogs too, so that you can get even more sneak peeks in what is to come in this collection. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this video, be sure and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel to see more videos from me, including another stamp of approval card later on this week. I can't wait to share it with you. I'll see you next time. Bye.